Let's pretend the theme music is there. The theme music will make it eventually, right? Yeah.
Cough,
Hi,
cough.
Mahi.
Hi, Mahi.
How are you?
Good.
I even know I was right about which kid that was. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So we have a special thing tonight. You know,
Yes, we
talking
have
about-
a special thing tonight on Two Chicks and a Radio. This is
Right.
Kat, DixieDX.
This is Rhea and to RJ. We're gonna be talking about kind of like these radios, but not really this radio, but radios that look like these. Let's pretend they're radios. That looks like these, okay? And we're gonna have a special bunch of people on. We have
some smart people on. They're almost as smart as you and I, if not smarter.
I think Ed might be a little smarter. You know, oh, I just spilled the tea. And then you have Steve and Mike and Ed, and you know.
See,
I think we
didn't spill the tea, and all I did was sit here and say they might be as smart as us, and you just sat here and was like, ugh.
Well, people could read titles and descriptions, but you know they're kind of
like me, where I don't even read either one, and just watch.
Yeah. So anyway, so this show happens weekly, but it goes on my channel, which is Geostationary Radio, every other week, and it goes on DixieDX every other week, and then we kind of spin it around and go upside down, and it goes, you know, really good like that. We talk about ham radio. We delve a little bit into the news, and you know, the news. There are a few things. Man, you know, sometimes I feel like the news reads like the obituaries. We have AMSAT pioneer Ray Sofer W2RS. He's silent key, and we have a twofer. You know, Joe Ames, W3JY, who is the one of the founders of Radio Relay International, which is a traffic handling organization. They're silent key, so I don't know what we're going to be doing about this. And Joe was young, by the way. Joe was 50-some years old, okay?
50?
No, he's like 53.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Very depressing.
Yeah.
That's only 11 years older than mine.
Right. So, other stuff going on. I'm gonna breeze through news because I really want to have these guests on stat. Ukraine is maintaining their ham radio silence. Russia is not, although I've seen less Russian stations on. And you know, this one is, you know, I need to talk about this, but I'll talk about this on my show about, you know, this new push from little satellites like Starlink and all these others that I think Jeff Bezos wants to launch one too. It's gonna have some stuff. And last, I'm gonna announce it here too. We're having a joint convention with my division, the Hudson division, and the New England division. So we have a nice big ham radio conference up here, which I'll be going to. So without further ado, Kat, let's see here. I see Ed Sweeney, Ron Walensky, Evan, some random number, Lawnmower, David Hill, some guy named Mike, Radio Stuff or something.
I don't know. Who is that?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a YouTuber, I think.
Is he?
Ed Sweeney.
I didn't know like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, so if you want to bring on our guests, we can do so now, and let's talk with them.
Awesome. Boom, boom.
It's getting crowded in here, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, good evening.
Hey. Alabama. Hey, y'all.
We got, let's see, we got Alabama, we got New Jersey, we got New York.
New
what
York.
Other state? New York, you know? Forget about it. Anyway. We got, Steve, what state are you in?
New Hampshire.
We got New Hampshire.
What do we do? We get all the northern states and screw all the south?
Yeah.
It's going to be worked all states, you know?
And right now, I got at least 3 states going on. Four including Rhea.
I think you guys should definitely have an M17 worked all states, award or something.
It's
That'll
coming.
get adoption real quick.
Well, we actually have 5 states on right now.
No, hold on. I
The-
got that.
That guy.
Yeah, where's
So I'm
FBI?
actually in Massachusetts.
Oh,
Yeah, look at
okay.
We have all northern states here. Nobody's from the south except for me. Everyone from the south, the southern belle.
Something
Well,
like
yeah. And who am I? The damn Yankee? Well, no, Ed is the damn Yankee.
Oh, y'all are above the Mason-Dixon line.
Oh boy. So anyway, good evening, guys. It's really nice to have you here. And first of all, I'd like to say congratulations on that the award for SP5 WWP. I know he will probably watch this on Team Replay, or I don't know if he's watching live. But it's very nice to have you guys. I'm following this project. Actually, I've been following a lot of these building blocks for these projects since Kodak 2, and it's been interesting thing. I like digital radio. Well, this is not digital radio, but I carry this is a GMRS radio. Actually, I shouldn't even have this here. I have D-Star. I have DMR. I'm not really into fusion all that much. And M17 is interesting because all these other radios have this proprietary closed chip from DVSI, and so I guess that's a nice segue. What the hell is M17, and what are you guys doing?
All right, I'll start off. So M17, we're a community of open source developers and radio enthusiasts. And we're building an understandable system in support of hackers and experimenters' history of ham radio. We're currently focused on an open source digital radio mode for both voice and data. So, like you said earlier, you'd mentioned SP5 WWP. Did I just mess up his call sign? I think I did.
No,
so that's
Sierra Papa
Wojciech.
5, Whiskey Papa. Yeah.
Yes, Whiskey Papa. He started the project in 2019 in Warsaw, Poland. And since then, he's created a global team of amateur enthusiasts that have been helping him out along the way.
I want to show you guys this because this is really this tweet of his. Okay, yeah, this mean tweet of his. Let's see
Getting called out
what
now.
am I trying to share?
Now we get to play the game of, is it one I know about, or is it a new one?
No, it's a good tweet. It's a good tweet. I'm sorry. Okay.
That tweet.
So this is just freaking sweet, okay? And because this is open source, right? You don't need a chip or anything. You could bring this bad boy up in a software-defined radio and rock on. So tell us a little bit about what he's doing here. Yeah, 5 independent streams.
It's one of those things where there's just so much experimentation going on that it's well over my head. What we're trying to do here is we're actually building a GNU radio block so that people can experiment with M17 directly in GNU radio so that they don't have to build their own flowchart in order to actually get to modulate M17. This was just I think it was probably just a kind of a, can we do it? He's using one PA, one amplifier, and he's pushing out 5 different M17 streams from a GNU radio flowchart using some of the blocks that are being created. Yeah.
So that reminds me of software by Joe Taylor, the WSJT, where in the DXpedition mode he does 5 simultaneous streams. Yeah. So I guess this is a similar principle, but I guess over wider bandwidth, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, but now I'm actually going to talk about actual troublemakers. Okay.
That's that guy there.
No, this is not a guy. This is not a guy.
Uh-oh.
This is ORI, okay? And ORI said they have a position statement that they don't here we go.
What is ORI to begin with, please?
So okay, so ORI, and if we should have brought on Michelle on the last podcast. ORI, yes. Oh my God, I like how sometimes Michelle could be absolutely raw. Okay.
That's Michelle.
This is an official policy announcement. Say no to crappy codecs. Okay.
I mean, I thought we were saying the crappy crap in general, but all right.
So ORI is an organization that does research into various electronic and communications and digital communication projects. And the most famous character in that organization is Michelle Thompson, W5NYV, and she's brilliant. Okay, she's really really brilliant. And then you have Bruce Perrins, K6BP, and Bruce is also really brilliant. So you have two of them, and you have, I believe, a couple others. They're doing all these projects and they're supporting all these projects and stuff like that. But and this relates to M17 how? Because I noticed you guys said use a higher bandwidth codecs on M17, right?
Yeah, Mike, I just saw you on mute. Do you want to explain that?
So higher bandwidth. We're using standard codec 3200. There is a lot of interest in a wider bandwidth, higher quality codec, and there's a lot of interest in some of David Rowe's wider bandwidth machine learning based decoding, which gives you much better quality audio on the decode side.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Machine learning and decoding. So this is is this like the NVIDIA RTX thing where they have the audio that could totally, this guy, this streamer, he had like a vacuum cleaner in the background and his graphics card totally removed the sound of vacuum. Is that something like that?
I do not know about that.
Yeah, there's this YouTube channel I think called Nerdgasm or something like that, right? And the guy, he basically he does like a streaming, and he has like this big microphone that covers your face and everything, and he has like he processes the audio through this thing called the NVIDIA, but it's designed to work with NVIDIA RTX graphics cards, if you could get one that the Bitcoin miners aren't getting. Barnacle's Nerdgasm. Thank you, my friend. And Barnacle's Nerdgasm. And he showed where this thing basically, you have a sound input, and then you have like a loud noise in the background, like a vacuum cleaner or, something, or a jet engine or something. And then the machine learning would actually learn the sound and be able to remove it from the stream. It was very effective. So I was wondering if that's the same thing.
Nope, not yet. But that is one of the major benefits of M17 is because it's open source, someone can go in and hack that in if they like. And if it becomes useful, especially if it's something that you can run on a modern computer or a radio, that's just that much more powerful.
Okay, so tell me from the very beginner basic, if I wanted to get into M17, let's say I have I don't know, let's attack it from two ends. Let's say I have a hotspot, because I know a lot of people using hotspots, like a Zoom spot or I don't know, or something like that, or a MMDVM board or something like that. How would you get into M17?
So a couple of the implementations that we currently have available are based on the MMDVM hotspots. And through the work of Jonathan Naylor, G4 KLX, his MMDVM firmware now supports M17 natively, in the firmware. So now it's just a matter of time before that gets built into Pi-Star. There have been other people that have put efforts towards that. Alessio, I forget his call sign off the top of my head. Ed could probably grab that faster than I can think of it. He did a lot of work of trying to get M17 visible to people in the dashboard of Pi-Star. It's already in Pi-Star. All the software pieces are there. It's just a matter of bringing it to the end user through the web interface to make it easy enough for somebody to use. The other end of it would actually be something like this, where we have. Well, all right, so my camera's not going to really cooperate with me. This is a USB Zum stick, so it's the same thing. It's an MMDVM modem. It's just that it's USB based, and I have that plugged into my cell phone, and my cell phone can transmit M17 using a program called DroidStar. And
yeah, I have DroidStar.
Yep. So if you have something like this, or Ed was asking me earlier about plugging an MMDVM modem using a serial FTDI chip. If you got that, you can plug it into your cell phone and transmit M17 over RF. We actually showed this off during Hamcation when Ed and I were down there. But there are some implementations of Pi-Star that have the M17 stuff built into it. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting all the pieces put together, and because they're not put together very easily right now. I mean, you kind of have to understand, okay, I need to turn this piece of software on. I need to configure that configuration file in order to get it to run. But it's there. We're just waiting for it to become more publicly available.
Okay, that's interesting. So right now, I need to use like a command line or something to get it on, or?
Yeah, there are a couple of caveats that need to be addressed when experimenting with the M17 side of it. Granted, the software is there. It's just a matter of understanding how to make those changes to the configuration files on Pi-Star for that to be something that you can use.
Okay, so let me back up a little bit. I'm totally sorry. I know you guys a little bit. Okay, I know Ed very well. Well, I think I know him. So how about telling us a little bit? I'll start with Ed. Ed, what's your background in radio and such?
I've been licensed since 1993. I was very active for like the first 5 years or so. Took approximately a 20-year hiatus because I started a new job and work got in the way. Got back into radio about 4 or 5 years ago, and I found DMR, and DMR was just so damn confusing to me, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And started digging around on the interwebs, and I wound up eventually finding the M17 Project. And Wojciech kind of stalked me a little bit on Facebook, tracked me down, and I've been hanging out with these guys for the last almost 2 years. So.
And you are the community manager, so you do a lot of outreach and such like that, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And W2FBI, what is your role?
So Wojciech stalked me also. I started one of his GitHub repos. He was working on a replacement vocoder, something to compete with Codec 2, just for fun. And he sent me an email, and we went back and forth, and I joined. So I do a lot of software. You don't see me on the nets. I write. It's mostly kind of like back-end work, so to speak.
Okay. You mean like you actually do like the codecs, or you do like integration, or what?
I've got a Python library. I've got just a whole lot of small little things. I did some experiments with Codec 2 in the web browser using WebAssembly. Things like that. Just little bits all over the place.
Oh, that's cool. And Steve KC1AWV, and what's your background and role in M17?
So I got licensed in 2013, following the footsteps of my older brother. I like the public service aspect of amateur radio. The local club has a really strong ARES, group. They do a lot of work with the nuclear power plant and everything, doing drills and providing support for radios and everything like that for the state and the federal government whenever they need it. So that got me really interested, and I started to experiment with radios after I got signed up with ARES and getting involved with the local club, and I like the technical side of it, and it's basically just something to keep myself busy and out of trouble. I was definitely not a well behaved youth when I was younger, but this hobby has gotten me into more sensible lifestyle, shall I say. But in 2019, Wojciech happened to hop onto an IRC server that I was participating in, and he started talking about this new digital mode that he wanted to explore and kind of, bring to life. So I joined his IRC chat room, and I kind of got dragged in, kicking and screaming. And now I'm doing the web development side of everything. I'm helping out with the integrations, and I also host the M17 laboratory that just got built on the other side of my house. So today we finally got our lab, and now it's just a matter of getting all the equipment into it and running electric and network out there. And we'll have a laboratory that people will be able to bring projects, or if you have an issue or you want something to kind of explore, you got a new thing that you want to try out with M17, we can simulate it at the lab, or even bring hardware in to have anybody in the world experiment with the tools and resources that we have as M17.
So I'm looking at the whole team here now. You guys are really, this is really cool. You guys are a bunch of hackers, and I'll get off my Twitter. Yeah, you guys are a bunch of hackers, and a bunch of really like, you guys are literally embodying ham radio. I see Wojciech here. He's the founder and lead developer, bare metal software developer. That is badass. I mean, open source hardware movement enthusiast. Yep. You have Steve, web developer, software prototyping development. Ed, chief troublemaker. Rob, WX90, software and hardware development. Okay. Nice. Enjoys digital signal processing, embedded system electronic design. Yeah, aren't we also trying to master the FPGA? And then Dog software development for DroidStar. And then Tom N7TAE. You guys have a really nice thing going on. So what it's like in a typical day of software development with M17, it's like, do you guys get on like a giant Discord or Slack and just do ideas, or do you guys just randomly just shove code into GitHub and then hope that the conflicts get resolved, or what?
So Rhea, that's just part of the global team. There's a bunch of other people involved on a day-to-day basis. And like Steve said earlier, we have Jonathan G4KLX from MMDVM fame. We have DB9 MAT Mathis, who's pretty much came up with the open source hardware for the MMDVM boards, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have our, I have to think of a better word, but I always say our sister project, and that's the OpenRTX guys from Italy. And those guys are doing some amazing work with some of the cheaper Chinese radios, like the MD380 and the, what do we got here? The Alliance ID51. And those guys, they're writing custom firmware for the radios that eventually will be able to run M17 in addition to the DMR mode that it actually runs.
Yeah, and those of us who were at Orlando Hamcation saw Bruce Perrins parading around this, this MD380 circuit board in a case, in a plexiglass case, And that I assume that's part of the OpenRTX, right? He was running OpenRTX on that.
Right. So that's the board from the MD380, and Bruce is actually sending us a couple of those cases, so we'll be able to display it too at the various outings we'll be going to in the next couple of months. But going back to the global team, I had mentioned DB9 MAT before. That's Mathis from Germany, and he came up. You guys are going to get a sneak peek here. He came up with something he calls Module 17, which is this beautiful little circuit board here that's running OpenRTX. And I don't have it powered up. I haven't really played with it.
Sorry.
I just got it a couple of days ago. And using a module like this, you'll be able to hook it up to a DB9 connector go into the back of a like Kenwood radio with a 9600 board data port, and you would just hook up a Kenwood speaker mic into it, and you would interface this, and you'll be able to get into the M17 project. So it's implementations like this that are coming from around the world with the various members of our team. I'm going to show you one other real quick, and nobody's have seen these before. This was
World debut.
This is called OPI M17, and this was developed by M0IEI, and that's Pedro. He's over in England, and
Right.
this would be able to run the M17 client on MMDVM. It's basically a custom hat that he designed that sits on top of an Orange Pi Zero to a Nexteon screen, and this thing does a lot of work. This particular one, you'd hook up a Kenwood RJ45 speaker mic into it, and you'll be able to interface this to an MMDVM board and get into the M17 network. This also would offer rig control in the very near future. So there's a lot of interesting people that are doing all sorts of great implementations of the protocol, and you're going to see more and more of hardware coming forward. So the normal person could jump on and join us and play around with the new revolution in digital radio.
So, let me just kill this here. So, Kat, have you ever done DMR or any of these digital? I know you do D-Star, Kat, right? You're talking to yourself on mute.
I live my life on mute. That's what my boss says.
So what I'm saying is, I know you've done some D-Star.
That's it. I've only done D-Star. I can help you out with D-Star. I've learned.
Well, that's fine. No, I want to ask you, what do you think are some of the limitations of D-Star?
Honestly, it's a pain in the rear to get into the reflectors at times and have to get out of the reflectors to get back into the radio and use the radio properly. You have to log in and log out. It's a pain in the butt, honestly, and I really don't do D-Star very much because it's a pain in my rear.
I think, but I think, like, D-Star is like the oldest ham radio protocol for digital voice out there, I think. At least the one that's in widespread use. And as far as, like, simplicity goes, how do you guys, how would you want to make the experience, like, she has a frustration of the user experience. How do you guys do that with M17, especially given that it's an open source project, A
lot of our ideas and methodology behind how the M17 network works comes from our community. And, people have expressed concerns with other modes, such as DMR being extremely difficult to program because you need to develop a code plug, and then that code plug goes onto the radio, and then that radio can only operate within those parameters unless you set up some sort of front panel programming. D-Star, getting in and out of reflectors, like Kat was saying, just even trying to get onto a repeater in order to start talking to, somebody else. You have to know a lot of information. Granted, ICOM has made it a little bit easier lately with some of the information already being on the radio or, via an SD card, but still, you're still creating that kind of code plug-esque information that you need to put into the radio for it to work properly. The Fusion seems to be okay as far as accessibility for the radio user, but again, the way that their networking works is a little daunting for the average user. M17 aims to be a replacement for all of that, and basically you just pick up the radio. The radio you'll be able to program a repeater right into the front panel of the radio. And some of the things that we're working on is, as soon as you key up that repeater, it starts downloading information to your radio using the high-speed data link, and showing you, okay, you are on this repeater, you are talking on this reflector. Would you like to go ahead and continue? You know, you can just continue operating on that repeater and reflector if you want, if the repeater is linked to a reflector. Or you can go ahead and say, no, I want to choose a different reflector. And that information will already be on the radio. All you have to do is just turn a knob or push a button, pick that repeater, or pick that reflector that you want to talk on, and just hit your button and start talking. That's obviously a lot further in the future than where we are right now, but these are some of the ideas that we're taking from our community and making things easier for the end user. The stuff for the repeater operators and systems admins and everything like that will probably be a little bit more high level for that. You know, getting what reflectors that you want to link to and all that other stuff set up on whatever you're running your repeater with. But for the end user, we're trying to, like I said, make it as easy as possible. And the OpenRTX team is helping us out with that, developing their firmware with some of the ideas that we have in mind.
That's
Mind if I add
really
something?
interesting.
Yeah, go ahead,
sure.
Mike.
One of the things about being open source is just as soon as someone says, I don't like this, they can go and change it. So OpenRTX had a user interface as they were developing it just to start. Alessio came in and he added some patches. I've had some pretty significant patches for OpenRTX as well, and that's the beauty of it. I'm sure we're actually going to be inundated with options later, and that's going to be our major problem: is user interface options. We're just going to have too many choices eventually.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So this means technically, and I'm really hoping, that probably even some mainstream radio manufacturers might include this in some future radios, or even as a firmware update. That would be really nice. But of course, you guys have your own hardware, and other people are developing hardware and such like that. So I don't think there's going to be any shortage of hardware. All of this, for me, it's kind of like overwhelming, but, at the same time, it's great because there's a whole brave new world out there of open source hardware and software where people are not tied to buying a locked in commercial product like the vocoder chip, or a radio that uses that in firmware and such like that, so.
And Rhea, you and I, we spoke about this before, but the M17 project and OpenRTX and similar projects, we are we're attracting the newer group of hams. We're attracting the future group of hams, and there's an untapped source of our future in the hacker and maker community that's attracted to projects like this. There are a lot of smart guys out there that are on the younger side, definitely younger than me, and they're extras, and they're all over the radio, and they have a lot of deep-rooted knowledge of how RF works. And a lot of people say that there's no young people in the hobby, but there are a ton of young people out there, and they don't necessarily want to deal with some of the bad parts of the hobby that don't embrace open source and new projects like this. So I think we're starting like the new wave of homebrewing for the new era of hams.
And there you go. Kat, have you ever built anything, Kat, from scratch, or a kit or anything, or
Are we
antennas?
referring to radios, or are we referring to furniture?
No.
IKEA.
Will you build a radio if you get a chance? I still have one in a bag here. I'm finishing up. It's kind of like there. It's just I just need to solder on a few pieces.
I like building stuff. I build Legos. Every time my kids get a Lego kit, I put it together because I'm that person. I can't let them do it on their own. I have to do it for them. Same way with furniture and stuff. So yeah, I think a radio I would be up my alley too.
Yeah, and I've been, I was telling Kat that how sometimes I just sit in cold all day, because I do that at work, and it's, it's sometimes, it's rewarding, and then sometimes it's just utter frustration. But like you said, this is a new generation of hams. This is the new people who, they're home brewing, and I saw the lamentation of things like when we got rid of through-hole components in a lot of cases. A lot of, I mean, I hate to say it, a lot of the old guard is saying, well, home brewing is over. It had its golden era and it's gone. And they're dead wrong, because I'll tell you, there's a whole new renaissance. And I think it's never been better to be a home brewer, and especially with open source hardware and software. You don't even have to solder anything anymore. You just write a firmware update and push it in. Well, you still have to solder, but
That's one of the things that we want to try and do is finish. We have a radio that was originally developed by Wojciech called the TR9, and that was supposed to be the open source radio for M17. It would just run M17 and nothing else. It probably would also be FM as well, but we're trying to make the TR9 available to anybody that wants to try and build their own HT. It's very simple to assemble, and granted, you're going to have to learn how to solder surface mount parts, but surface mount parts have been around for ages, longer than I have. So it's not necessarily the wave of the future; it's the way that it is now. But even with the hardware that's on that radio, it's fairly simple.
One of these things.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a component. This actually has surface mount. I actually put these. I assembled this. I put it on the board and then put in the oven. So.
And the great thing about surface mount is that you don't have to be exact with a placement or anything like that. Once you stick it in the oven, or even if you're using a hot air rework, you just watching the solder melt, and then you can literally just watch the little pieces move right into position. And it's really awesome, and it's so much easier than running with a soldering iron and poking your eye out with it if you're not careful.
So one of my people I admire in this whole homebrew thing too is in our chat here, Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, and he's been a huge proponent of hams building and repairing and modifying and upgrading their own equipment.
I had the opportunity to speak to Joe at Hamcation, and he's a great guy. I've seen him speak before, and had a little bit of a fanboy moment there talking to him. And,
what I'm thinking is that if you guys make a nice kit that could probably have some of the surface mount assembled already, or even have like some easy instructions, even a challenge for experienced home brewers, you might have some good take up on that. And Joe might end up doing a thing on one of his kit builds. He likes he does like kit builds and such like that, of course, as you know.
We already had Joe volunteer to help us write the directions for the Nucleo TNC from MobiLinked, which you can go into the MobiLinked website and you can buy the circuit board and the case and source your own parts. But Rob WX90 from MobiLinked has some alternate firmware for his TNCs, the TNC3 and the Nucleo TNC, that will run an implementation of M17 on it. And Steve, I think you've played around with that extensively. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so some of the things that Rob has developed for M17 with his TNC is he helped us develop the KISS protocol for M17. So any application that you have that can run KISS will run the TNC3 in M17 mode. So you can do APRS over M17. You could do you could run a BBS over M17. Basically, any sort of KISS mode application can be run on M17 using the TNC3. I did a lot of testing with APRS. Actually, this was it 2020, I believe, when I was running around. I was driving around with two TNCs, and I did a lot of. I was driving around with a couple of TNCs and trying to do some like distance testing with M17, and it works really well. There's also a HT app that works over Bluetooth. So you connect your cell phone to the TNC3 over Bluetooth, and you have basically an HT using a TNC3, which is pretty awesome.
So that went right into my next question was, we're talking about voice and we talk to each other, but I was actually talking with one of the manufacturers who was saying that how he kind of wish, and I believe Mike said he was into MCOM, and a lot of MCOM these days is not just voice where you get on a repeater and you kind of like talk directions. They want to pass like a spreadsheet, or they want to pass data. So it looks like this thing is ready for data sort of thing. What kind of like data rates and stuff you're seeing with this?
So one of the things I like to say is that even though M17 has a digital voice application for it, it's still data. M17 is pretty much agnostic. It doesn't matter what data that you're pushing through it. It just, depending on the type indicator, it's either voice or data. But as far as data is concerned, we're seeing throughputs of about 5 kilobits a second using only about 9 kilohertz of bandwidth on a channel. So we're within the narrowband channel spacing. We have a 12.5 kilohertz channel spacing that we're using. 9 kilohertz of bandwidth, you're able to have a throughput of 5 kilobits. And, that's more than enough to send, say, a radiogram or send a ICS 213 or something similar to that. They go through extremely fast. And I'm actually working with, soon I will be working with the local Aries group to see if sending some of the station updates for Seabrook Station, the nuclear power plant, where they send and receive, big, huge filled in charts of, information that need to go out to all the EOCs. And we're going to see if M17 can do that faster. And one of the other things that M17 can do is also run data and voice at the same time. So using a half rate voice codec, or running the voice codec at what we call half rate, which is 1600 bits a second, you can send both data and voice. So even if you're not at a computer that can receive M17 data and basically show you what's being sent over the air, you can still listen to it and get that information, as well as have a computer that can make a direct copy of it.
Yeah, that seems interesting. It reminds me of the old debate over, like these cell phones, like iPhone. Well, I don't think iPhone was that time. Like back when it was old GSM versus CDMA, and people were saying that how one of them, no, it was 3G versus HSDPA or something like that, where people were saying that how you can't do simultaneous voice and data on one, but you could do on the other. I mean, now it's standard. Everything's like LTE and 5G are doing that now, right? Because 5G, of course, I believe uses voice over IP. That's cool. I mean, there's been a lot of talk and debate about data. Do you guys ever see yourself working with somebody like, I don't know, like WinLink or something, to get M17 to be like the physical interface for their messaging system? Because I know they use Packet on some of them.
There is a 9600 baud modem built into WinLink, I believe. How that performs against M17, I don't know. I haven't gone that far.
I think that's Vara FM, right? And that's Vara FM.
Yeah, so I think there was some sort of an issue going on with the WinLink guys and Vara, and I'm not sure if that had something to do with the monetary cost behind Vara, but I remember briefly hearing something about that, and our name was brought up.
Yeah, and again, M17 has a KISS mode, so implementing M17 as a physical layer for WinLink would not be difficult at all.
Okay. So, Kat, I want to, as you as a beginner, right? If you were to get into this, would this be something that would interest you?
Well, yeah. I want easy operation. I don't want something that's stupidly hard. I mean, who wants to do something hard? I mean, because you got some hotspots and everything to get on, like, is it DMR or something, and you have to have them codecs and hotspots and all that kind of crap. Who really wants
Yeah.
to mess with all that? I mean, half the time the technology doesn't work. It doesn't even communicate with each other. And I can't tell you how many times I've been subjected to listening to somebody rant and rave about that stuff. And yeah, not very pretty. So no, I want something that's user friendly, because if it's user friendly, then everybody's going to want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
The thought process. At the same time, though, you still have people who will use the old stuff anyway. So I think people who are newer in the hobby would enjoy something that's less complicated. Using the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Well, in terms of KISS, they're talking about like just a modem basically just passing raw data.
I know that. I know that.
Okay.
I'm explaining the thought process of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That's what the Russian taught me, is keep it simple, stupid, when I was cooking stuff. So, yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. That's good. Any roadblocks you guys see in terms of like current FCC regulations or anything?
So there is encryption built into M17, and encryption's a no-no here in the States, but
Right.
Other countries they're allowed to use encryption, so that might be pretty interesting for the M17 protocol over in Europe. And I know in Poland, I don't think they have any sort of restriction on encryption. Mike, is that true? Or Steve?
That's correct. You can use encryption as a ham in Poland. I want to clarify something. It's not built into. It is an option from the start. So, because there's some debate, but you have the option of enabling it, and a lot of the hotspots actually have the option of not passing any encrypted traffic to help you stay legal.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of interesting here in the States. I mean, it's basically a religious kind of war between, people who say that, well, we need to self-police, one, and two, I'm gonna have to switch my camera battery because it's gonna die just now. But because I'm using a different camera setup. The other thing that people are saying is that, well, maybe you need that for emergencies sometimes. So it'll be interesting where this shakes out. I mean, there's a lot of different schools of thought, and my battery exhausted. So yeah. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where this goes. I do think that the regulations probably need to be brought up to date, to kind of like bring in some of the new features. I don't know if there's going to be or it's going to be like in Poland. I think American hams are going to balk at that, but I think maybe something. They already allow encryption for spacecraft, for satellites.
And remote control, yeah, for like RC stuff.
Yeah, but they allow. I mean, for obvious reasons, you don't want. You want to have your command link for orbiting satellites and other spacecraft to be encrypted. So, so this brings me to the other question: is M17 ever going to be in space?
Haha.
M17 has been in space.
Oh, it's been in space.
It's been in space. So a couple of the experiments that were done not too long ago, I would say back in 2020, late 2020, we have a gallery on our website that shows Wojciech setting up a satellite dish and pointing it at Kilo 100. So we were able to actually send M17 to a geostationary satellite and receive it back pretty easily. Some of the other experiments that we were doing are with EchoStar 21, I believe. Mike, you might remember exactly which satellite it is, but it's a commercial satellite that ESA has been helping us, run some experiments with. And Wojciech actually just got a Arrow dual band Arrow antenna so that he can try and get some low Earth orbit satellites going with M17 as well. So yeah, we've been in space, and Phase 4 is actually using M17 as their control channel, I believe. Mike, you can probably unmute and correct me if I'm wrong.
Unfortunately, I cannot correct you because I do not know.
No. Yeah. So Phase 4 is using M17 for their satellite stuff as well. So it's it's in space. Just not a whole lot right now, but we are getting there. Will we launch an M17 satellite? I hope so.
You guys have a groovy partnership with ORI, so maybe that'll happen, because I know they're into that stuff, I think. But you know what else I like? I like that generally, even if you guys don't officially do it, that somebody else could just say, you know what, I think we need that, and then they basically pick that up and they do it themselves, because it's open source.
That's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah, Mike wanted to talk about something related to satellite work as well.
Go ahead, Mike.
So one of the things I've been working on, this is where that power of open source thing comes in, is you can do satellite tracking on the radio. We had some early examples of that quite a while ago, and I've been continuing to work on it since. So we have past prediction and real-time tracking on the actual OpenRTX handhelds in real time with Doppler correction. So that's a bit of a game changer, because now you don't need three hands, one for the radio, one for the antenna, one for your cell phone to track the satellites. You can have just the two.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's see. Walter Edwards is asking, I'm wondering when geostationary satellites for the Western Hemisphere can go up. That's probably tangentially related. I don't know if you guys have any comment about that.
All that I'm just excited for it.
Yeah, you should probably get Michelle in here one day. She's big into the space thing.
I'm gonna drag her and kicking and screaming, but I'm sure she'll be a willing participant. I mean, victim
Absolutely.
or whatever. Yeah, but no, so the whole thing about geostationary satellite, we're not gonna launch our own. I think we're gonna get a payload on a commercial satellite, like you mentioned, EchoStar. That brings me Charlie Ergen and these guys. So that's one of Charlie Ergen's satellites, I think, right? And if we get a transponder, I still don't know how hams pull that off, because it brings me, you guys heard of Captain Midnight, right?
Yes.
Sounds familiar to me, yeah.
So Captain Midnight, I think he was operator at one of the teleports. I can't remember which one. And he basically got mad at HBO overcharging or charging money or something for, and then he basically beamed the satellite up, increased the power, and then sent a message, HBO really, or something like that, and he some protest message. So he totally jammed the satellite.
He was a hero in the hacker community for a while because of that stunt.
Yeah. He said, greetings from Captain Midnight, And then he talked about HBO. I think it was HBO or Showtime. It was HBO, right?
No. Where's Captain? I ain't even heard of Captain Midnight. No idea.
And this might be worthy of doing. Yeah, the good evening HBO from Captain Midnight, $12.95 a month. No way. I have to share this. I'm sorry. It's too funny. And those of us who are like satellite buffs and such like that, right? This is what he sent. I mean, this, the color bars that kind of color bar pattern should be familiar to those of us who are TVRO enthusiasts, And then,
I remember seeing those late at night, when you're sitting there watching cable TV and then the local channels go off air and that's all you get.
Yeah, and you get them on the wild feeds as well too,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I worked in cable television, so we used to have a lot of those actually, but now they're encrypted and digital, so they're no fun anymore. But so that's pretty good, guys. Anything else you wanted to tell us about M17 that I really wish we could cover more, but
could just make a couple of announcements. We're going to be at presenting at Ham Expo this coming weekend.
Yes.
Steve and I, we have a presentation at 1600 UTC, which is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're one of the first presentations, and just a quick overview about what M17 is, and we'll have some live demonstrations. A little bit further down the road, we will be at Nearfest in Deerfield, New Hampshire, which is a 2-day ham fest, which is a lot of fun. In July, the European guys will be at, I don't remember the name of the ham fest in Germany.
Friedrichshafen.
Creatures, yeah.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
that one.
Yeah.
So Wojciech and DB9MAT and the Open RTX guys, they'll have a table there. We're also hoping to be at the Hope Hacker Conference in Queens, New York in July, and that'll probably be me, Mike, and Steve. DEF CON in August. Looks like we'll be out in Vegas. And my section manager just told me that our conference, the Hudson Division Conference, is going to be held up in Massachusetts at the end of August. So
Yeah, it's joined with New England, so we're actually doing a joint. We're actually basically doing what used to be known as Boxborough is now in Marlborough, and we're kind of like I agreed to have it as a joint convention with New England. This way we could get more speakers and more people coming in.
So it looks like my two New England brethren here, we might be making an appearance up at the old Boxborough.
I will be there. Marlborough, not Marlborough, but Marlborough, Massachusetts.
Right, the old Boxborough, right?
Right.
Yes.
You mean the cigarette Marlboro? That's spelling
Not
that.
Marlborough.
Uh,
One of you could pretend to be Superman and crash into Marlborough. That's from an old movie.
I will don the tights if need be.
One can hope. Yeah. So there's another. I learned about this other hamfest in Italy called in Tuscany. And I guess I don't know if they'll be there. I'm really hoping that things in Ukraine come to a quick end. My friend Karsten, I just want to show you my friend Karsten Dower. Let's see. He basically, and God bless him, that guy, I don't know how he does it, and maybe it could be that he is just a maybe he just learned about the history of Germany, where what they went through, and and all the things, and he wants to help out the Ukrainian people. So he actually drove, and he's driving all the way from Germany. He has a hotel, okay, and he's driving all the way to the Ukrainian border to pick up ham radio friends to stay in his hotel. As refugees. That's amazing. So I just want to give him a shout out and 2 thumbs up. He says, I'm driving to Ukrainian border tomorrow. There's still medicines in Holzminden that need to be transported frost-free, or anything else, and I can take them with me. Please let me know. Reaction to which our mayor called and invited many sleeping bags and medical articles. Car almost full. Okay, drugs. Okay. Wow. Delta Mike 9 Echo, and he runs a DX hotel. So go check him out, Karsten, dl2obo.de, and his website. Excuse me, you can see it there. He's a good guy, good person to support. He says he wants no money for the diesel, but I think, if you want to help him, you can help him too. He said diesel's really cheap in Poland. I guess Wojciech could kind of confirm that. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, you know what? Thank you very much. Kat, you got anything to close with? I'm not even going to tell her.
I muted myself again because my kid came in here and he goes, "Hey, Mom, what's the last word of my social?"
1, 2, 3, 4.
I should have told him that. No, it's not. It's not. So I muted myself so y'all wouldn't hear him go, "Hey, Mom."
Yeah.
Uh-huh. No, I'm just looking forward to it being open source where everybody can use it and less pain in the rear. And yes, apparently Superman type Ed is definitely in the talks here. That'd be funny to see. FYI, I think everybody would be laughing at that one. So Ed, Superman outfit, yay nay?
I think Ed is game. Ed's game one.
I would definitely don the Superman tights.
What
With
about
M17 logo on his chest.
Spider-Man?
M17.
No, I have to keep this face visible. You know, Spider-Man's covered up.
Okay,
That's
what about
true.
Nah,
Batman?
it's the same thing. I'd be covering my eyes.
Yeah.
All right, what about Shazam?
Is Shazam even a thing anymore?
Yeah, it
Is that a
is.
thing down in Alabama?
No, it's a character. Trust me.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I could do Shazam.
Yeah. So, yeah. And Gabriel, yeah, you know what I gotta say to Putin? This is what I gotta say to Putin. But, you know.
Hey, Rhea, does the Hudson Division convention conflict with Huntsville?
No, it's a week after.
It's a week after.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start a fundraiser, everybody, where we have to see him in tights. We're going to auction off.
And that's a really good point. If they want to support the project, how do they do that?
We have a donate link right on the front page that'll send you right over to LiberaPay, and the donations go direct to ORI, who's our fiscal sponsor. So it's
Okay.
a 501c3 nonprofit. So every donation is considered a nonprofit donation and comes directly to M17.
Okay. And let me just show you that, you know, that's proof that it's there.
I hope it's there. I put it there.
Well, it's there. So, you know, yeah, you can donate and get started. And, you know, it's a worthy cause. If you love digital radio and you love open source, I know, you know, and this really is the future of home brewing, and it's the future of I think it's the future of ham radio, to be honest. You know, I mean, HF is nice. I love HF and stuff, but you know, HF is not the only thing in ham radio, and I really enjoy that. I really love that a project like this exists. One, and two, that it seems to be thriving. So I really love it.
Yeah, we have a really
everybody
awesome
wanting to know,
community.
when you donate to M17, make sure you keep that for your records for your taxes. Because it might not help you on federal, it could help you on your state. I know Alabama, it helps on state, but federal, we will get $300 automatically off on federal for donating cash donations to charity. Just saying. No matter how much you donate. So you can donate $300 and get $300 off.
Dollar
There
for
you
dollar.
go.
But
ORI.
that's the
I'm not. Yeah. Is ORI a 501c3 or are they?
Yes.
Yes.
So there you go. If you donate to ORI, they will, you could take that off your taxes because they're a C3.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
so there you go. Yeah, you could take it off your taxes. I mean, if you're doing itemized deductions, I think, right, Kat? You're the professional, so you know
Well,
better than me.
you know, when it comes to donations, cash donations, or whatever charity, in general, states usually have do better at itemizing than federal because you have a lower threshold with state to meet than with federal as far as itemizations. So with federal, you would at least get $300 off on your federal adjusted gross income, but state you could get a lot more. But for instance, Alabama, 3,700, saving in Alabama, adding that to somebody's taxes today, it saved them roughly.
I feel like there should be a disclaimer here.
Well, roughly $105. So yeah, the disclaimer is, well, you're donating a whole bunch of money. You might not see that much off on your taxes. That's it. That's the only disclaimer you got there, Ed. I mean, it's not dollar for dollar. I mean, you can't sit here and donate, oh my goodness, $15,000 to Jesse Duplantis and expect to get $15,000 on your tax return.
Yeah. 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 So you know what? I think this is going to be an interesting thing for next year's taxes. Well, this year's taxes that you do the tax return next year.
Mhm.
That'll,
I feel
that'll
like we
be
need
nice.
like a live telethon numbers to see if we got any
Um,
donations coming in yet.
So the only thing I can tell you is this: do not sit here and go sit down with your tax person, and then because you owe money, go home miraculously come up with a whole bunch of money that you happen to donate for charity, and all of a sudden have to get it amended. Because
No, I did my I have receipts for everything I donate. And then
Rhea, most people do. But we're talking about people who owe all of a sudden and who go,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I donated $5,000 to the Humane Society. Okay.
yeah, I have for like the fire department and the first aid squad. It's like $50, $100. They have like their donation drive, and then I have like the church, and then I have like the ARRL, because I donate to the ARRL, and other people too. So I get a donation letter from the ARRL. So
I just
it's
got
covered.
my application put through to be a lifetime member of the ARRL, thanks to you.
All
Rhea.
right, congratulations. I hope. Did I claim my flex as a dependent?
Hey Rhea.
Mm.
As long as your flex has got a social security number, you can claim it as a dependent.
It has a serial number. That don't count, right?
No, has to be a social.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh well. Anywho, listen, guys. This has been wonderful. You
Can I
guys are
throw a
welcome
plug
back.
in here?
You
So-
can throw a plug. You can throw a plug for anything you want.
Alrighty. So come join us on M17Project.org, and you'll find links to our Discord channel, Discord or Matrix, depending which way you want to come in. And it's a wonderful community, a lot of great people there. Come in, say hi, ask a lot of questions, and just somebody pretty much from the team in the live Discord or Matrix chat pretty much 22 hours out of the day. So come say
Okay.
hi.
Okay, great. Yeah, we put the link in the chat, and you guys can I guess we'll put it in the description afterward, right? Kat will put it in the description,
Yes.
and
To M7.
it'll be nice. I'll see you guys at Marlboro, and I'll probably see you at QSO Today Expo.
And hope. We have hope.
Yeah.
Hackers on
You know,
planet Earth.
Yes, I'll see you guys at Hope. Yeah, I think Joe Capano and stuff is trying to get a ham radio thing. So, we'll see how that goes. All right, guys. Oh, somebody asked, is M17 available on Amazon Smile?
Not yet. By tomorrow morning,
ORI
we might be.
Yeah, if ORI wants to consider that.
Yeah, we'll have to coordinate that with ORI.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's Austin. He's one of our community members.
Mm-hmm.
EC4AG, who just made that comment.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, listen. Thanks, guys. It's been fun. 2 chicks in a radio and a bunch of M17 team members. And it's been fun. I definitely am going to be playing around a lot more with this now, looking to see if I could. Maybe I wouldn't have my own plexiglass case with an MD380 and open RTX. Or maybe I will. Who knows? That would be an interesting episode. Tie the ribbons on it, Kat.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to sit here and like and subscribe both channels. Because if you don't, then you're going to miss out on the exciting fun that we have. So, don't forget Rhea, don't forget me, and don't forget to check out the M17 Project. Because that is where Future of Ham Radio is going. Thanks for joining us, guys. 73.
73.
Bye.
73.